You are greatness waiting to explode. The universe is waiting for you to speak it into being. Now, let's do it. Hi, my name is Nekesha Burrell. I'm the host of Freelancers Oasis. Welcome, guys, to episode 3. Have you been displaced due to the pandemic? Experienced loss, grief, financial instability? Are you feeling like you're just in an ocean all by yourself with no life vests? Just scared of the unknown? When will that all be over? What should we expect post COVID, and will you even survive it? Do you know someone who's going through this phase? If you do, this episode is for you and them. I want to start by explaining what this podcast really is for and the name Freelancers Oasis. Now, let me explain. Freelancers Oasis um, is a little deeper than just how it sounds. Freelancer is an individual who has stepped out into their own, somebody who's setting their own, standing out, setting their own time, and have the freedom and actually putting value on their worth, just owning their true purpose. An oasis provides a refuge and relief. An oasis symbolizes life, love, and domesticity. Now, domesticity actually just means home. So, you are safe. You are home, my beautiful listeners. So, be not afraid to voice your thoughts and review as you feel on your heart. I am excited to see the results from last week's discussion. How did your list turn out, guys? I sure hope all positive. Please share with us in the comments. Let us know, what did you write down about yourself? If it was positive or negative, and whatever it is, we are here to walk you through to speak in positivity about yourself. Now, feel free to connect with me anytime through my links in the podcast description below. Listen to the end for a few lines from my new book, which is what today's topic is inspired from. Absolute Belief System, and it's now available on Amazon. Our topic today is Absolute Belief System, feeding your faith and not fear. Are you ready for this? So, today, who am I speaking to? All right, I am speaking to a student who's struggling to meet that grade or focusing on your studies due to a number of distractions, especially the pandemic. An adolescent who has a failure to launch mentality, seeking direction to even make a choice. An individual who is on a career path that does not seem to be growing, or you feel somewhat stuck. Or an individual who has experienced sudden displacement due to many factors: loss of business, loss of your job or your loved ones, or someone who's just felt like giving up. You just think to yourself, God has forgotten about you and you're having struggles with your faith and your belief system. Listen, even in the worst times of our lives, the only way to see it through is to first accept we have no control. Be obedient to your journey and build strong on your belief system and your faith. And if you ask me how to do that, my simple answer is pray, pray, and pray some more. Now, this means many things for different cultures, and I have friends from all over the world. So I know how complicated this topic can get, but I speak one language, and that's love. And with love comes obedience, faith, and unity. And these values allows things to function. I want you to get this. So let's tell a story. David, no. Who remembers the story of Job? Who can say that they have suffered more than Job did? Not anyone I know. God allowed Satan to have a go at Job to such a degree that he started to despair even of life and the day of his birth. But that was his emotions playing out. So don't be too hard on Job. His friends accused him of sin. His wife told him to curse God and die. And Job never find out the reason why God allowed him to suffer so much. He lost his children, his wealth, his health, all his crops, his livestock, and eventually his relationship with his wife and his best friends who turned on him. They accused him of suffering because of his own sins. Job felt like he was God's enemy due to his suffering and started complaining to God about his condition. Make no mistake about it. Job really struggled with his suffering. I remember he said, if you should look in Job, I loathe my very life. Therefore, I will give free rein to my complaint and speak out in the bitterness of my soul. I say to God, do not declare me guilty, but tell me what charges you have against me. Does it please you to oppress me, to spurn the work of your hands while you smile on the plans of the wicked? I think that's Job 10. Have you felt this way before? Because what we're going through now, I know there's a lot of people who probably do feel like this, and you feel abandoned. You are not alone. God understands. He knows your strengths and your weaknesses, that we are all feeble and weak. We're made of dust. It's okay to question God, though. Have that conversation with your God. Your time will come to repent and be humble before Him. But why are you afraid to have that conversation? It's like you're whispering to yourself. Listen, guys, while we wake up every day to the same chaos, the fear of not knowing, having to deal with this pandemic, the mixed emotions, the everyday responsibilities that, despite having a pandemic, has not stopped the necessities that we could quite frankly now do without. The pandemic has taught me a lot of things that I thought I couldn't live without. I couldn't care less about them now. While we wait to hear some normal news, we have to find time to quiet the everyday noise to reconnect with ourselves spiritually. That's how we're going to build our inner strength. Okay? So, let me take a minute to start you off. If you're not driving, close your eyes. Just trust me for a minute, okay? Take a deep breath in. I'm telling you to do something that I do for myself. So let me share a secret with you. Take a deep breath in. Now out. Do it one more time. If you're from a religious background, Psalms 23 is a go-to psalm. I didn't plan on doing this, but I'm led to do it. So I'm going to read that psalm, and I don't mind if you read it with me. While you have your eyes closed and you're safe, and everybody around you is safe, you can close your eyes. If you can't, that's fine. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Now that was not too hard, was it? And when you pray, in Jamaican, I would say, listen to me. No pray no puny prayer, you know. Talk to God serious. Ask for what you want, firm and claim it. I just love being Jamaican. I embrace my culture because we're so dramatic. But that was just saying, when you pray, don't be all quiet and weak in your tone. Speak firmly to God and be demanding of what you ask for. Speak it into being like you're claiming it because it is already yours. Now, if you're not so much for prayer, well, meditation works. It's one of the same things. There are many ways to meditate, and the objective is accepting that through all the chaos and the stress that you've been through, God was there. Okay, I hope I didn't lose you. Now, let me think of a quick scenario. That person that just walked up to you and offered to pay for that milk that you had to put back at the cash register, God was there. That friend that called you out of the blue and told you that you came across their mind and she's sending you a cash gift for Christmas. Do you remember just that night before you prayed when you had the last meal that you can afford? Who do you think it was? God was there. That one moment you decided, this is it, I'm done. And you heard a voice like mine over the radio or on the telly, and it just hit you like a ton of bricks like, what am I doing? I have to keep trying. That, my friend, was God right there by your side. All the struggles we face, God is there, step by step, even during the hard time, giving us a hand each step of the way. So, in the good times, He blesses you, and in the bad time, He gets you by. So, I know you have something to testify about. It may seem small, but in the moment, it was everything. So, what are you worried about? Bad never wins. Struggle never wins. Hold tight to your faith. How can you lose faith now? How can you forget to get down and pray? He will never leave you or forsake you. So, how can you forget to speak to God like that? Who to date has ever broken a promise? What if the worst is yet to come? How do we know what post COVID is going to look like? Do you know? If you do not find ways to rebuild your belief system now, how will you be able to mentally survive another disbelieving phenomenon? There are predictions going wild about 2021. Do we sit and worry about it? No, because that we have no control over. But we educate ourselves. Start taking care of your mental health, rebuilding your spirituality, and drive our feet well grounded in faith and be ready. Be ready to survive. Be ready to open your minds. Be ready to live your best life and leave the rest to God. I speak from experience, and this is so important to me for somebody to hear. I stand right here, and where I stand, don't make it fool you. Don't think I am breakable. Don't you think I cannot weather the storm to come? Don't you think I will be uprooted? Do you know why? Where I stand, my roots run far and wide, deeply grounded in my faith, deeply grounded in my obedience to God, deeply grounded in my resolution, knowing that He will never leave or forsake me. So be not fooled when you look at a child of God and you can uproot them. Nah, the storm will break some branches, blow off all of those leaves, but these roots, who's with me? Who knows this? Before I got to this point, listen, I worked 18 years in the tourism industry. I was in my safe zone. And everybody else, I think, who works there felt pretty safe. I never felt the need to look otherwise. Can I tell you, I never in a million years thought the tourism sector could shut down. What? Never. But it did, much like so many other sectors, and it came down on us like a ton of bricks. Can I tell you? The ripple effect of the pandemic caused global fear, and I jumped on the fear bandwagon. I binge watched TV and followed every news clip on the internet for months. It was sucking the life out of me. And I did not realize the mental impact just fear caused until I decided, nope, not anymore, not one more day. And I stopped listening. I took some good advice from a colleague who said, go talk to your God. And I was wondering, what the heck is he talking about? I talk to God every day. But to be honest, I really wasn't. I just did, what we would call puny prayers. I really didn't connect with God every day. I was too scared about everything else. If there's any praying person listening to me this minute, wow. When all else fails, pray. I stand to it. During my process, I decided to fast and pray. And with introspection, I had an epiphany. Imagine feeling all the weight of fear and stress lifted. I don't know. I don't have words to explain it, but to say it was a floating experience is an understatement. And for the first time in months, I saw the pandemic for what it was. It's a passage of time that I have absolutely no control over. And I realized that I needed to renew my faith and my belief system. I was so worried about all the noise around me, I completely let go of my faith, and my functionality was shot completely as I felt hopeless and could see no solution. And after my breakthrough, can I tell you I wrote a book? Small, but just of my thoughts of missing the core values that's causing the main problems in society right now. Imagine that. All I had to do was fast and pray and reconnect myself. I wrote a book, y'all, that I've been writing stuff for years and I never complete anything. I completed a book. I have another one on the line. I have a course that's completed. And all it took was me reconnected. Imagine that. Just imagine that for a second. Listen, I am fearless. Do you hear me talking to you right now? A year ago, I would never. Is there somebody who needs to hear this? For me, I have left the pandemic and all the problems to a higher power, and now I can see through the cracks that COVID has caused. Now, do you want to do some artwork? I want to paint you a picture of how I see what we're facing right now. Mm. The effects of the pandemic have caused a paradigm shift that no one was prepared for. I found many did not just have a choice to change careers or still survive as normal, but instead felt they went to bed one night and woke up the following day with absolutely no financial stability. Sectors that were deemed untouchable and safe are crumbling right in front of everyone's eyes. And with that paints a portrait of distress and doom. And it's like staring through the cracks of a broken wall with no tool to fix it. So, what are we facing? We all know what we're facing: displacement of jobs, slow burning issue to be addressed before it erupts, because this is crazy, because all the effects that comes from displacement of jobs causes mental awareness. In order to salvage some sense of fair mindedness, it includes essential community who have to face the beast every day. All the essential workers, all these people who have to go out there, they have to smile every day. And we can stay home for some of us, and we're not facing the beast every single day. And the loss of freedom of movement and socializing, it seems simple just speaking it, but it's devastating to a lot of people to be locked up for weeks and months, not being able to socialize when you're a sociable person. Breaking down simple values that spiritually are important are seen to be lacking in our society right now. And we need to bring all of that order back to function. And last but not least, the transitioning of our new economic concept of transfer of digital information. A couple months ago, I went to my bank and I went there with cash. And I don't know, the security told me we're not a cash bank anymore. I'm in Jamaica, guys. We've heard about this since we were toddlers, and we never thought it would come in our lifetime. So I was like, what? And all these things are happening during COVID, but nobody is noticing the transformation because everybody's so worried about just what's happening with the pandemic. So, post pandemic effects will be more devastating if we disregard our need to find ourselves, to reconnect with ourselves and just let go of the stress of everyday problems. We need to reboot our minds. Can you believe that? It sounds like a robot, but we need to reboot our minds. I want to share a message of hope and empowerment. Even in the darkest time, faith leads a bright outcome. During these times when we are at our lowest, It is essential to first accept that this is not in our hands. It is not our fault. And although it affects everyone differently, it affects everyone. But let's imagine we're all traveling in a sea. Man, I'm always talking about sea. Sorry, guys. But here's a scenario. And I think this is my last scenario. I won't keep you long. We're on the same sea dealing with the pandemic. How many of you have stopped to think that the experience to each is still different? A lot of us aren't thinking about this, but see, I keep painting pictures, but take a look at this for me. Just use your minds and imagine the picture I'm painting to you. We're all at sea, and some of us are weathering the storm still safe, probably in a yacht with servers, and we remain financially stable. That's one side. Some of us are traveling by grace, still holding on to faith, still have income, but have to cut back for sure in order to stay afloat. We're still at sea now. Some of us are crammed in a boat too small to fit everyone comfortably. Not safe at all, but for now, we're trying to hold on as long as we can just to weather this storm of this pandemic. Some guys in this group, not the minority by far, are not even on a boat. They have already given up, have nothing to hold on to, and are drowning as we speak. I have to take a second 'cause each time I think about this, it breaks my heart. Many of us struggle with our faith, suffering from severe trials, but there is no faith worth having that has not been tested by fire and by the storm. Do you know within these cracks, there are people who are finding positive out of the pandemic? There are companies that have been born from COVID, from some great mind. There's some technology that has been put on the table due to the effects of COVID. Some individuals who took the shambles and built a new career, a new life for themselves. Listen, enjoy life. Take a walk. Watch your favorite movie. Enjoy the simple things in life and just try to close the noise. Just close yourself away from the noise for a minute. If we have learned anything this year, 2020, everything adjusts. The world is still functioning, not right in all cases. It's still in chaos, but it's still functioning. But the point is, in the midst of losing control, look around. Look at the positives that are coming out of this pandemic and head to that direction. We are not staying over here where everything is going in shambles. We're heading in the direction of positivity, of productivity. That's where we're headed. That's where I want you to look. I leave you today with a few lines from my book. The name of my book is Absolute Belief System: Feeding My Faith and Not Fear, because that's how I felt at the moment. And here goes. Keep the faith by always taking time to stop and connect with your spiritual self. It is a process of connecting your body and your soul, closing out the noise for a minute. Let go of past mistakes and wrongs. Speak only positive energy over your life. Hold on to a hopefulness to a better tomorrow. Find yourself in a crowd of positive thinkers and always strive to be at peace with life and yourself. When you need to reset, find yourself. And that makes you go quiet for a minute, but I want you to think about those words. The link to find my book will be in the description below. And listen, guys, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my thoughts today. They ran deep because they're very personal. I'm sorry for holding you so long. Please feel free to take a minute, share, subscribe to my podcast. Somebody needs to hear this. Let's share it so they can hear it. We will be tuned in together every week, so stay tuned until our next episode. We will discuss, who are you? And I'm excited about that. What are you meant to be? And that's a topic for our next podcast. Until then, guys, peace out. One love. Bye, y'all.